What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Talking Thrones. I am here with GrayArea, and today we are going to continue with our predictions for Bran Stark. In part 1, we discussed some of the things we think Bran can do to help win the Great War. Now that Samwell Tarly and Bran Stark are working together, there is a very good chance Sam can help Bran find a specific time in the past that may have some of the answers to defeating the Night King. Sam was the one who helped Bran figure out the truth about Jon Snow's parents. So now that Sam has all these books and documents about the Long Night, I think he will tell Bran where to look in order to see how the others were stopped for the first time. So what I want to ask you is, what do you think Bran can go back in time and see that may be able to help them today? Do you think he can see how the last hero was able to end the Long Night the first time? Or do you think he can find out more about the origins of the White Walkers? Or do you think it might be something else?
It could be the last hero that they can see. If it was mentioned on the show, I'm trying to think of things that were mentioned on the show specifically. It could be he could go back to the first Long Night. I think he needs to go back to the pact between first men and children. I think he needs to go back to that to see what was the premises of this pact. Like, what did the children promise, and see what they said they would do to defeat the White Walkers. He could go back and see the last hero, but I think because they showed that Jade Compendium on there, and they talk about this Azor Ahai character on the show, or the prince that was promised. So I think they could go back to that time, but I don't know, like, can he access Essos? Can he see what happened in Essos? I think that he can.
That is a good question. I don't think we have seen him do that yet, but I believe when he is able to fully harness his powers, he will be able to. Everything he sees is still in fragments right now, but he does have access to the entire history of Planetos, basically.
Yeah, because I know, like, in Dance of Dragons, he said you can use the weirwoods to see, but once you're stronger, you'll be able to see way, way further than that. Because, like, in his coma dream, he's all the way in Ashai. I feel like that he's going to have the power to see that far. And then, so it's like so many things that he could go back and see. But because the Jade Compendium was brought up, and we saw Gilly with that book. I assume that that's going to be a book that Sam took with him.
I think they are basically trying to go in that direction, with Jon being that guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, but did you think it could be the last hero that he goes back and sees?
I do think it's a strong possibility. We have seen Gilly holding a book about the legends of the Long Night. Based on the story we have been given in the books, we know that it was when the last hero set out to find the Children of the Forest in order to stop the others. When the last hero found the Children of the Forest, they were able to get the fighting to stop somehow, and the Long Night ended. The last hero must have done something to get the others to stop fighting or flee north. And I think Sam may find that in one of the books he has. Then he can tell Bran to go back and look to see how it was done.
Yeah. In the books, in the video that I just did, I talked about this a little bit, but Sam is reading, like, he's looking for stuff on the others in the Long Night, and he can't find anything, and he's basically saying, like, all these books are written by septons, like they're just passed down and they don't make any sense because knights are riding around when knights didn't even exist, and kings were living for like 300 years and stuff like that. So he was saying that the first men only left runes and something else. But I was wondering if Bran could go back to when those drawings were painted in that cave, because ultimately Sam did find that dragon glass cave, or that cave of dragon glass, in a book at the Citadel. So I was thinking that Bran might go back and see where they drew that was drawn in the times that this Long Night was going on. That could be where he goes back at. It's like so hard when you're talking about Bran to know what's going on with him, because he's so awkward. Some people, and I think this is very plausible for Bran, is that some people say that he's not even Bran, like it's not Bran, it's somebody else, but it's Bran's body.
That is possible, I guess. The Three-Eyed Raven did tell Bran it was time for Bran to become him. Then we did see the three-eyed raven disintegrate. Then they tell Benjen the three-eyed raven is dead, but Benjen said he lives again. And when Mira is talking to Bran at Winterfell, she tells him he died back in that cave, and she was referring to Bran. So that is definitely something to consider, because you have to wonder who the hell Bran really is now.
Right. He died in the cave. And you notice that when he's with Benjen, he's drinking blood.
Yep, that's right. He was drinking rabbit's blood in the show.
So it's weird. Like, and then just the way that Bran is acting. Bran doesn't really have to be dead to be sharing his body with someone else.
What do you mean exactly?
Okay, so when Bran goes into Hodor, even though Hodor is considered simple-minded, and that's why it's easy, allegedly, for Bran to go in. I mean, Hodor's not dead. Hodor's still there.
Right.
And Bran can feel Hodor inside. Like when he's inside Hodor's skin, he can feel him being scared and not wanting him there and all those things, but it doesn't affect that he still uses his body. And basically Bran doesn't have to be dead for the three-eyed raven to go into his skin.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now. I actually did see someone make that theory. I can't quote all of the evidence they had, but it did make a lot of sense. I don't necessarily believe the theory, but there is enough evidence to make a good case for it, I think.
Yeah, my video that I did about it was about Benjen not being Benjen. But I mean, yeah, I did see the evidence for Bran sharing his body, because in the books it always seems like Bloodraven is priming him to steal his body. I don't really know if I don't think the show is going to do that, because they didn't really show any of that Jojen pace stuff and all of the little weird things that happened.
You think the Blood Raven's kind of like Chucky and he just wants a new body?
What is that? Let's play hide the soul.
All the way, D.A. Dumbella. Give me the power.
Give me the power. I beg of thee.
Bran, I'm sorry, Bran. I just got to get out of this goddamn tree. I'm gonna need that body.
Yes. No, I don't think it's like that. I mean, I don't discredit those theories though. Like, there's no way you can say either way what's going on, because they don't give us that much evidence, and it's like Bran is just weird.
It is very weird, and we still don't know how that is going to end in the books. Even though the television show left out some of those pieces of the theory, we still don't know which direction George is going to take this in. That is interesting though, and I think that's where some people start thinking Bran could be the Night King.
I hate that. I do not want him to be the Night King. Like, if he's the Night King, I would be shocked. Because I've seen the case for it. And I'm not saying that it's complete tinfoil, because I don't think that it's complete tinfoil. I think the people that put it together, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, Game of Theories made that video, and I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, and Nex he's good at that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I love Nex, but no, I don't think Bran is the Night King.
No.
Because, I mean, if he is the Night King, he will not be the Night King in the books. The evidence that's used for the theory is it's only show evidence.
Yeah.
There's nothing from the books that support it.
In the books, you're not even sure if the Night King is a physical man.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to ask you. Do you think we will see Bran have any kind of mental tug of war with the Night King as this war progresses?
I really want that to happen. I think that we get kind of a glimpse of that when Bran is inside the weirwood net and he's where the Night King is, and we see that the Night King is powerful enough to come into his vision. Like, he's either looking at a vision of the past or the present. He's not really there, but the Night King is able to interact with him. That leads me to believe that the Night King may be a Greenseer or a Warg. I talked about this a little bit, and basically there's a figure, a legendary figure in the World of Ice and Fire called the Warg King, and he basically had an army of like green seers and things like that. So I could see like a battle of the minds going on, and I could see that as possibly being how Bran would be the Night King. Of how Bran would be the Night King is by getting trapped inside his body.
Yeah, I do too. Like that could definitely happen. And I actually think as of right now, I think the Night King is actually more powerful than Bran. Like what you said, where he entered his vision and he was able to grab Bran. And
Yep.
when Bran sent the flock of birds, or the murder of crows, whatever people call it, north of the wall, and how the Night King looked up at it, and basically the birds almost exploded, and Bran snapped out of it and was scared to death. So I think the Night King kind of he's one up on Bran right now, but I think when Bran ultimately harnesses those powers, then he will be able to stop the Night King. But I think right now the Night King has Bran beat, and he has Bran scared.
Yeah, I agree with all that, because I mean, he's got to be more powerful than Bran, because Bran is just really finding out what he is, and just now harnessing the power that he has. And to be honest, Bran is a green seer. Green seers get their strength from blood.
Yeah.
So I doubt he's drinking on any blood at Winterfell.
No, we definitely haven't seen it.
Freak out for real.
Oh, can you imagine if Sansa walked in a room and Bran had like blood, like a blood mustache?
She'd be like, one sister has a face of bags, the other brother is drinking blood and having weirwood visions, and I'm just over here just being the Lady of Winterfell. Like, what's going on?
So, let's see. I'll try to wrap this up. Do you think Bran will have to sacrifice himself to stop the Night King?
That's a good question. And I never thought about Bran sacrificing himself. I don't think he'll have to sacrifice himself. I think he already kind of did sacrifice himself. If Bran is really the three-eyed raven now, then he sacrificed who he was to become the three-eyed raven.
That's absolutely right. He already has made a huge sacrifice. He gave up his old life to become the new three-eyed raven. Jon Snow is trying to defeat the Night King because he knows no one else is going to take it as serious as him, but Bran knows he has to be the one to help defeat the Night King. He knows he has this connection with the Night King. Jon really has no idea how important he actually is until Bran is able to reveal that. Just like he said earlier in the video, Bran might find out that Jon does have this really big role to play because he is both ice and fire.
I agree with that 100%, and I think that's exactly why Bran is so important, and he's going to be the key. He's going to be the key to everything.
Let me ask you one more thing before we end the video. At the end of this story, after all the wars are over, some people believe magic will die too. It could have something to do with all the dragons dying, but if that happens and Melisandre would, let's say, lose all of her powers, and the warlocks would lose all of their powers, and everything else, do you think that means Bran will die too?
I don't know that Bran will die. And, well, I mean, if magic is completely eradicated from the whole Planetos, then I guess Bran would die, but I'm not sure what the Weirwood gods or the old gods, I'm not sure what they are. Like, is what they do, is it magic, or is it like something bigger than that, like some kind of holy deity, like a god? Because if it's a god, then I wouldn't consider it magic.
Right.
So if it's solely magic, then yeah, he would die. I feel like magic, in the beginning of our story, magic wasn't really a thing. Dragons weren't around. Dire wolves weren't around. Children of the forest weren't around. Like, magic wasn't talked about at all.
Right, and it really only started to increase when the comet came and then the dragons were born. Then it really started to ramp up.
Right. So we still had we still had the Children of the Forest, and we still had Bloodraven north of the wall in his cave. We still had all that without having magic at the forefront.
That is a very good point. When magic was at its weakest, the Children of the Forest were still around. They were just hiding, and Bloodraven was still around. He was even visiting Bran before the dragons were born. In that case, if magic did die off, then I think Bran would still live. He just may lose some of his powers at the most, because he really wouldn't need them anymore after that either.
Yeah, he wouldn't. If they eradicate the White Walkers, which I don't know that if that's what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to be able to completely destroy them. I feel like the last time that they fought the White Walkers, it says they sent them fleeing to the icy north. So they sent them running, and they left them alone, but they didn't kill them. They didn't eradicate them. They didn't wipe them off the face of the earth. So if there's one White Walker left at the end of this, then Bran still needs to be alive.
Yeah, because then all you would need is someone else sacrificing babies to them, and they could grow their army again.
Yep, and Bran will need to train the next three-eyed raven.
That'd be crazy. Just having a cycle just keep going and going and going. That's why I think when this story ends, the current story, at least in the show, I think the Night King needs to be defeated completely. That way it breaks this cycle and ultimately breaks the wheel.
Yeah, I think that as well. And that's what I want to happen.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our Bran Stark video. I want to thank GrayArea for coming on my channel. I really enjoyed our conversation. Make sure you go subscribe to her channel, that way you can check out some of her other great videos. The link to her channel will be down in the description of this video. She will be releasing a video we did together about Arya Stark, and that should be up on her channel very soon. We also recorded a video about Melisandre, and I'm going to be uploading that either tomorrow or the day after that. You definitely don't want to miss that one, but I want to thank everyone for stopping by and checking out our collaboration. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. I also want to thank everyone on Patreon who continue to support this channel during the long night. It really means a lot to me. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.